Yeah, sir. We now have the first question from Mr. Ashok Ajmera. Request you to please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. At the outset, congratulations to you for the very good set of numbers. Of course, we have just at the leg end. I mean, end of the COVID issue, but still, lot of legacy will be there. And some of this pro forma provisioning and NPA, how it comes off, we'll have to wait for another quarter or two. But in the present
Correct.
circumstances, it is definitely laudable. Sir, I've got just one observation just on the data point on the profit and loss statement is that our taxation provision is very high as compared to any other bank. I mean, it is going almost about 45% if you look at the net profit numbers. So, is there any reason that why our provision for taxation always is so high? Are we making too many provisions which are not allowed under the income tax, or how it has been calculated, sir? If somebody can throw some light on it.
No. It is only around 34% in line with all other banks. It is not a very high provision. Only thing
Sir,
is we can go through the calculation a little more
Sir,
intricately.
if you look at your profit, sir, it is 9,582 crore, on which the provision is your tax provision is 4,521 crore. It comes to almost about 45%, 42, 43%, 45%.
So, you like to clarify?
And
Yeah,
similarly for the 9 months also.
My CFO will clarify. CFO. Yeah, carry on. Voice is available to him.
If you go through the issues, we are reversing the DTA. We are reversing. You can see the result, and some of the expenses which are not additional, we have also accounted for. So according to that, it is coming on the what you are suggesting.
There is a DTA reversal as well, because we are slowly DTA components which are becoming due for reversal also we are undertaking. That is why it is appearing. Otherwise, it is only as in line with other banks. It is around 34%. It comes tax. It is not very high.
It
But
includes
because
the
certain
DTA
reversals
reversal
have
also.
taken place. Yes, correct.
And sir, if you go to your segment wise results, sir, again this treasury income has gone up, like from 1,582 crore to 2,548 crore. Treasury income has gone up, has taken a big jump, whereas the corporate wholesale book has taken a hit of, total is 1,469. And there is always retail banking also has come down to 612 crore as compared to 1,370 crore. So is there any, reshuffling in the portfolio? I mean, in the sum of the recategorization, or it is actually?
No. See, major reason is interest rate reduction. Interest rates have gone down heavily in the last 6 months. The effect was more in Q3, and all the entire MSME portfolio we have converted to RLLR category, where the interest rates have gone down. So these are the reasons for reduction there. Treasury, like last time also I had given an indication to you, Q1 in the current financial year we have earned 1,300 crores. Q2 we have earned 800 crores. Now in Q3 again 1247 crores. In Q4 we expect around again 800 crores. So based on the market position, we have been judiciously trading in the book, whereby treasury profits have been there. So if you go through the consistency, H1 it was 2,100, and in H2 in the first quarter Q3 it is 1,247, and another 800 crores we expect in Q4. So it is in line with our expectation in treasury.
And this your future expectation is in spite of the recent hike, the jump in the bond yield. You expect the returns to be continuously going to be the same, the treasury income as per the target?
Bond yield will taper off in next few days because RBI is coming with OMO. Even last time when the OMO came, it was to be finalized, but they are scrapped on 5th only because the price which they got probably was not acceptable to RBI. Though we are aware that now it has gone up to 6.111213, but it will go down. We are expecting it to be tapered down with the intervention of Reserve Bank of India. So still we have the availability of profit within our HTM as well as AFS portfolio, but we will utilize to the extent of around 800 crores before March.
Okay, all right, sir. Now I come to the advances, sir. Our advances are still muted. And just
Correct.
like other banks, also our focus is mainly on retail loans. How do you see your corporate book now going? Because with this budget, a lot of euphoria has been built up, and a lot of government spending is also going to be there on the infrastructure and other things. 5,54,000 crore of allocation for that, and the promoters also will be bringing in their own money also. So a huge investment is going to take place. And as you have seen in the market, also responded to the budget provisions. So do you want to give some kind of a big strong advances growth target or something? Are you revisiting the previous things so that we can
See,
draw some conclusion on that?
in corporate credit, the demand has been very muted. No new investments were coming up. One is because of pandemic. Second, if you remember, tax reforms government has brought about effective from 1st of October 2019. However, we have not seen new investments. That is main reason. Though we are concentrating on retail and MSME, we are also focused on corporate credit. So what we are expecting is overall by March 2021, the credit growth would be around 4% year on year. Whereas at the end of December, our growth has been very muted at 1.5%. But we are expecting the disbursements to take place in the 2 months now, February and March. Thereby, our growth could be moderating to 4% by March 2021. With respect to 21-22, like the government has come out with various measures in budget, they will be played out, and everybody is expecting GDP also to grow anything between 10.5 to 11%. We also expect in PNB the credit growth would be anything around 10% in 21-22. So accordingly, we are planning and gearing up with respect to the capital as well.
Sir, last question in this round. What is your collection efficiency ratio in this December quarter?
See, collection efficiency up to November was 92%. December was little muted. Now again in January it has improved. So we are expecting that in the next 3 months, that is January, February, March, our collection efficiency goes beyond 94%.
Okay, so presently for December whole quarter, it may be around 87-88%, isn't it?
Correct. 88% or 89% was the whole quarter.
Okay.
That is ended December.
All right, sir. I will come back again because if time permits.
Thank you.
Yeah, before I take the next question, participants who are joined by dialing in, they can raise the question by pressing *3, and they can unmute themselves by pressing *6. We'll take the next question from Bunty Chawla. Bunty, you can please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
Yeah, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, you are audible.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving the opportunity. Sir, I need your focus on page 41 in the presentation. As we have shared, as of 31st December, we have 6,807 crores of COVID-19 benefit, out of which 2,347 has been already shifted to pro forma NPA. So rest amount remains is 4,460 crores. How one should see this number? Is it the part of restructured which you have already announced 12,000 crores, or is it still a standard and could move into a NPA in Q4 if the Supreme Court direction is out of the picture? How should one see this?
No. As of 31st December, it was not NPA. It was the component where the advantage of asset classification was provided to that in terms of RBI guideline. But because repayments have come in that category, it continues to be in standard category. So the 2,347 where recovery has not come based on the record of recovery, it has moved to pro forma NPA where we have done the provisioning. So these accounts of 4,460, we expect that they will not slip into NPA. Some part may go out, but I have given the overall indication that the H2, we would like to control the fresh slippage at 12,000 crores. So within that, it will be subsumed.
And so we are maintaining 10% provision on that also.
Yes. Now in this account also, we are maintaining the 10% provision in terms of the RBI guideline. So there won't be any legacy issue on P&L.
Yeah, that was very helpful, sir. Secondly, as you have already highlighted, 12,000 crores of restructured asset. 10% of provisioning already been done by 31st of December, or some part is remaining? And secondly, on this also, how one should see going forward in FY22 the fresh slippages which you out of this restructured and on a normal basis?
See, in terms of one-time restructuring, the component which is part of pro forma NPA, we have already provided 15%. Now, 1,206 is the amount where we have provided as of 31st December because we have invoked, they are yet to be restructured during the current quarter. So, roughly around 1,000 crores could be the impact of provision requirement in Q4 related to restructuring. That anyway we'll be able to manage. That is why we did not keep any legacy related to pro forma NPA where we have provided completely by December itself. Now, with respect to how this restructured profile is going to play out in 21-22, we'll have to wait and see. The reason is thoroughly after going through the accounts only the restructuring is done, and within the restructuring as per the RBI guideline, the moratorium can be given maximum up to 2 years. So accordingly, when it is happening, I'm not expecting much of an area coming under NPA, under stress during 21-22, except in the category of MSME and retail. These are the components where we may see some accounts missing. For example, in personal loan category, invocation is done to the extent of 2,000 crores. And another 2,000 I'm expecting in MSME. Already 968 is restructured, maybe another 1,000. So out of these 4,000 crores, there could be anything around 1,500 to 2,000 crores, which may slip in 21-22 overall in the year. In corporate book, I don't expect because we will be taking care properly after getting the RP4 rating and also undertaking the moratorium applicable under restructuring. Since we will be doing that, we don't expect to be under stress immediately.
That was very helpful, sir. Thirdly, on the COVID provision, if I on the balance sheet, if I move the standard assets, which is minimal requirement, and you have already done the restructured against the provisioning against the restructured, and so can you share the number COVID provisioning, if you can say separately, stood on the balance sheet as of 31st December 2020? If you can share that number.
Page number 41, 446 is COVID provision. Page number 42, 2,304 is related to pro forma NPA, and page number 43 gives you completely the entire provision held under standard category amounting to 3,041, including the derecognized interest of 431 crores.
Okay, sir. Okay. Lastly, sir, if you can share the SMA 012 number, how it has moved as of December, and if you compare with the pre-COVID level, so if you can share that comparison, that will be very helpful, sir. That's it from my side.
SMA 012, it will not be very clear for us to discuss at this point of time because pro forma NPA has already been there because of the Supreme Court judgment. That is why in page number 39, we have given the stressed asset book comprising fresh slippage, then total slippage in 9 months, OTR invoked figure, pro forma NPA, and total stress we have given you there, 26,382 crores in page number 39. SMA 01 and 2 in the last 6 months may appear to be very high, which we are concentrating for collection efficiency. The more appropriate figure would be once we calculate that at the end of March, because it is an ongoing exercise. Post-pandemic problem has been there. While we were declaring the figures earlier in Q1 and Q2, in Q3, it would be difficult because we are not identified properly the NPA itself. That is the reason why we did not give the figures, but more appropriate figures will be available by the end of March.
But that was, sir, very helpful. I truly agree that number could be not correct to see. But if you can share just the pre-COVID number, if I need to see how that number has been pre-COVID levels, if you can share just that number.
Remember, at the end of June, our SMA 2 was 15,000 crores. If you remember, that was almost pre-COVID figure only, even though 3 months into COVID. That is the range generally we carry in the combined position in SMA 2. Anything between 10 to 15,000 crores. It was in Q2 when we declared it was 19,000 crores. In Q3 it was little higher than little higher than that, but we did not give the figure because it will give unnecessarily distorted position of understanding, since we have already given the pro forma NPA, which otherwise should have become NPA.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I will be back in the queue. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, hi. Before we move to the next question, I request anyone who wishes to ask a question may do so by raising their virtual hand by clicking on raise hand button against their name in the participant list panel, or alternatively they may press star 3 to get into the queue and star 6 to unmute themselves. The next question we'll take, request you have been unmuted. Request you to unmute and then go ahead with the question. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir,
good
you are
afternoon.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Hello.
Yeah, you are
Hi,
audible.
hello,
You can go
sir.
ahead.
Sir, okay. Sir, congratulations for your numbers. Sir, I want to ask, you recently launched a QIP, but
Correct.
it didn't get it didn't get fully subscribed. Sir, can you tell me what is the reason?
No, on the contrary, I will tell I have got 3,788 crores. Reason is,
But you launched
we were
a
very
7,000,
bold
na?
to come. No. We were very bold to come to the market and declare that we want 7,000 crores. Other than State Bank of India, have you seen any bank coming with such a large QIP? Because we wanted to indicate the market that we have that kind of an appetite. And we have coined that QIP into two parts, 3,500 with green shoe of 3,500. Now I got 3,788, more than the issue size. Then immediately we have closed that. So it is not correct to say that it did not get fully subscribed. I do agree that green shoe option money has not come, but it was a bold statement from PNB indicating that we have a large amount of appetite for QIP, and boldly we have gone into the market, even though some of the investors have advised us that you can go for 4,000 or 3,000 crores, because we don't want to have a second thinking in that. That was the reason why we came to the market. So it has been very successful. 3,788 crores we have got it, and we are even contemplating for the remaining amount at the appropriate time.
Right, sir. We'll take the next question. Participants who are joining through phone, request to introduce themselves and then ask a question. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Haan ji, sir. I want to ask, I have seen your list of investors of QIP. Sir, LIC is there, no big like foreign investors. Why they are not trusting the bank and their numbers? Sir, how could you, investors ko how could you motivate to invest in PNB? There is a lot of confidence problem in PNB. Can you please tell me?
I don't see any problem in PNB.
Hello?
Probably it is the perception. So we will have to erase that perception. We can erase the perception only through consistent performance of PNB. PNB has been performing consistently in the current financial year, which in the beginning of the financial year also we've indicated that we will have moderate profit in 2021 and moderate profit by making the provisions very high level by increasing the provision coverage ratio. Accordingly, in Q1 we declared a profit of 323, Q2 we declared a profit of 623, and Q3 we declared a profit of 506, and our guidance of 2,000 crores profit for the entire year will remain. With respect to gross NPA, consistently we have reduced. With respect to net NPA, consistently we have reduced. With respect to provisioning coverage ratio, consistently we have increased. So for the investors, not only that we will be speaking to them, but more than speaking to them, we need to deliver in terms of the performance. Then only the perception will increase. Now, I cannot ask somebody why you are thinking that PNB's perception is wrong. It is for him to have a perception. But our endeavors will be to erase. Coming back to the list of investors, out of 3,788 crores what we have taken, LIC has invested only 1,500. And all other banks, commercial banks or otherwise, their investment is only roughly 270 or 300 crores. So out of that, if you imagine more than 2,000 crores has come from investors only. There could be foreign investors, there could be other investors. So foreign institutional investors have invested almost 43% in that. So I don't see any reason why people think that there is still a negative perception on PNB. Even if it is there, our endeavors will be to talk to them regularly and display our performance so that that will erase the perception.
Thank you, sir. We'll take the next question from Rahul Nandwani. Request you to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
In terms of your recovery, what kind of recoveries are you seeing next quarter or possibly in the next 6 months? You know, your from your big NCLT accounts, or probably say even Diwan and any other big NCLT account.
See, in the next 3 months, that is in Q4 of the current financial year, we have marked around 17 accounts under NCLT with a cash recovery of 3,727 crores, debt reduction of 9,400 crores. 9,450 crores debt will be reduced, and 3,727 crores will be the cash recovery out of 17 NCLT accounts. This does not include DHFL. DHFL, we may expect a recovery of around 1,600 or 1,700 crores because our exposure is 3,688 in that account. However, since formalities are there before everything is completed, we have not properly accounted in Q4. It could come in Q4 or it could come in Q1 of the next financial year. Other than NCLT, we also have an expectation of recovery in NPA accounts, cash recovery of more than 3,000 crores. Roughly every quarter we clock 3,000 crores. But post-pandemic, December has been very slow, even September as well. But we are seeing good amount of movement in the current quarter. So accordingly, our anticipation is there could be around 2,500 to 3,000 crores of cash recovery other than in NCLT cases.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you, sir. On your collection efficiency, what kind of trends are you seeing on that collection efficiency?
Collection efficiency this quarter should be much better. Up to November, it was around 91-92%. By quarter ended December, it moderated to 88-89%. Now, once again, we anticipate it could go up to 94% during the current quarter.
So versus your peer banks, let's say even private banks or SBI, their collection efficiency was closer to 97 or something. So why is it lower for us?
It is only 2-3%. See, I have given an estimate to you during current quarter. It could be higher than that. But as far as December was concerned, 92% we achieved up to November. In December, it was little less. As a result, it moderated to 88-89%. So we are expecting it to be much better in the current quarter.
Okay, sure. And lastly, sir, on your SMA 1-2 book, how is that book trending? SMA 1-2?
As I indicated earlier also, it would not be appropriate for me to discuss on SMA 1, 1 and 2 because pro forma NPA we have already given the figure. Restructuring figure also we have given. Reason is it is a post-pandemic situation and Supreme Court judgment also has impacted the recovery. As a result, it would be appropriate for us to estimate the figures at the end of March. That is why we are not given. Otherwise, quarter-wise, our generally SMA 2 stands at 15,000 to 60,000 crores. Q1 it was 15,000, Q2 it was 19,000. So Q3 we did not come up because pro forma NPA was there.
Sure. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. The next question will take. I request you to. I have unmuted. I request you to please go ahead with your question. There seems to be no response. We move to the hello. Yeah. So meanwhile, sir, we'll take few questions from the chat which has come up.
No.
First is the sir breakup of the pro forma slippages for 9 months into retail, agri, corporate.
That I think we had given already. 1 minute. रजनीश इसका bifurcation है क्या दिया था क्या हमने प्रेजेंटेशन में?
तो मैंने I have made it, sir.
हाँ, अगर बनाए तो दे दो मुझे. See, pro forma NPA 12,919 crores. Sector wise, if you look at in agriculture, it is 2,182, MSME 6,049, retail 2,798, and others 1,890.
Right, sir. And sir,
Ms. Mundra, could you get it?
yes, sir, I got this. And second is, sir, on staff cost, have we done the full adjustment on bipartite settlement? How should we see the next quarter staff cost, assuming yields remain same?
No, we are not. There is no requirement. As far as bipartite settlement is concerned, we have done fully. Normally, AS 15, what comes every quarter only will come in the next quarter.
Sure. And there is a question on amalgamation. How many branches ATM we have rationalized or identified for rationalization? What could be the OPEX cost for next year?
We have identified 500 branches for rationalization. Our 275 branches have already been approved, against which more than 50 branches have been merged. Remaining will be merged within 3 months' time. Because after we give the decision, it takes 3 months for giving notice and merging the database of the branches where we are doing. So by March end, we will complete 275 branches merger, and by June end, remaining 225. So overall 500 branches we have identified and merged. They will be merged. Those licenses will be used to open branches in different locations where business potential is there. More importantly, southern part of the country and western part of the country.
Right, sir. We'll take the next question. Request, I have unmuted you. Request you to kindly unmute. Hello. Yeah, so the next question is from Touchstone Phone. Request you to please unmute yourself and then ask your question. Thank you.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, you're audible.
So, if I heard you correctly in your opening remarks, you said you're planning to raise 25 billion from the market before March 2021. Is that correct?
Absolutely right. That is in 81 bonds.
Okay, that is from the 81 bonds. Okay, and so I missed the provision coverage that you mentioned on the restructured book. Can you please repeat that?
Restructured book what? No, I had given a stress booklet which contains the restructured category under OTR. Normal restructured advances we are given in the presentation page number 38. But stress book is freshly page, that is 2,433 crores. OTR invoked 11,030 crores. Pro forma NPA 12,919 crores. Overall is 26,382 crores, against which we have either provided 15% or 10%.
Okay.
Only in invoked category, those restructured 10% is provided. There is still 1,000 crores provision required to be done in Q4 for the accounts which are invoked, but restructuring is to be completed during Q4.
Understood. So for invoked, it's 10% provision coverage that you have made, right?
Yes. Overall, if you
Okay,
look
and
at
so
our presentation, page number 43, we have 3,041 crores provision we are holding. Already done as at the end of 31st December.
Got it. And sir, could you please repeat the pro forma slippage breakup that you gave? I missed that. If you could kindly repeat that.
It is totally 12,919 crores, comprising agriculture 2,182, MSME 6,049, retail 2,798, and others 1,890.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So, sir, as you have said that the SMA2 numbers maybe not the right proxy to look at this current point of time. But if you can just give us a
Correct.
sense on the SMA2 number, even in excluding the pro forma NPA, or in the other way. So, let's say you are saying that your collection efficiency is 94%. I mean, you are expecting for maybe the next this quarter, which is Q4. So, let's say the
Correct.
rest 6% will be your basically the overdue book. Right. So out of
Correct.
which there will be a significant portion on the SMA2 number. Am I right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So
So if
excluding.
you calculate that way, it comes to around 15 to 16,000 crores.
Okay. Okay.
See, that is why I did not indicate the figure, because pro forma NPA is 12,000 crores. OTR we have seen around 11,000 crores. In OTR, everything is not what you call NPA or pro forma NPA. Majority is standard only, but some of them could be in SMA2 because we have invoked. That is why I indicated that it will not be a proper figure at the end of December, because some account is invoked. It has to be standard, and while we implement the restructuring, amount recovery has to come, but it could be SMA1, SMA2. So these figures will not be properly playing out until we complete the process of restructuring and identification. That is why I said March figure would be much better. However, going by what you've indicated of logic regarding collection efficiency and removing these figures, so SMA2 generally in our book, it is around 15,000 to 16,000 crores.
Right. Got it, sir. My next question is, sir, on the slide number 40 and slide number 38. So the MSME
Okay.
restructuring, what you have given on slide number 40, is there any overlap with the already MSME restructured book, which is around 30 billion or roughly 3,000 crore, which is mentioned in the
No, there is no overlap.
Okay, so this 968 crore
See,
is
968 is specifically restructured during the Q3, particularly under that after post-COVID. Whereas the restructured book, page number 38, indicates about the window of MSME being open from 1st of January 2019 for restructuring.
right. Got it. And my last question is, sir, any view on the subsidiary monetization? Any expectation on that front?
See, in case of UTI AMC, we have already monetized 3% stake we sold, and we got 167 crores of profit. Non-core assets in terms of real estate, we have already identified 500 crores realization we are expecting before June. We have already initiated the process of auction. We'll have to wait and see how the response is coming, but we are looking at around 500 crores of monetization by June 2021.
Any expectation on, sir, PNB MetLife?
No, PNB MetLife is a non-listed entity. Currently, we have 30% there. Similarly, Choice, Canara HSBC, Oriental Bank of Commerce Insurance Company, we have a 23% stake. That is also unlisted. So, in order to have a better understanding of the investment value, they should go for listing first. So, they probably are contemplating for the same. Once they are listed, only we will think on those lines. But currently, we continue to hold 30% there and 23% here in both the insurance companies.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you so much. I will come back in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from Jayan. Request you to please unmute yourself and ask the question. Thank you.
Hello, sir. I just had one question on the 19,000 crore SMA2 book which you mentioned in Q2. Does that make up only 5 crores and above corporate accounts or retail MSME also? And B, would that have any of the restructured or pro forma NPA?
No. Q2 figure of 19,000 covers everything. It is not related to 5 crores and above. Q1 also, when we have given 15,000 figure, that was covering all the accounts. So now the stress is played out in Q3 in terms of pro forma NPA. When I had given the details, majority is from RAM only, retail, agriculture, and MSME. Out of 12,919, the other category or corporate category is only 1,890 crores. So in corporate, in the restructuring OTR book, 9,000 crores is already received for restructuring, where we have invoked up to 31st of December. So if you look at the combination of all these things, the correct position in SMA2 will be played out by 31st March in a proper manner. Could I answer your query?
Hello. Yeah, sir. Actually, I was asking that in the Q2 number, what part of that Q2 number would include the pro forma NPA and the restructured book?
Almost major. The reason is 6,000 crores in Q2 is part of the pro forma NPA. And there are few accounts in the corporate which are coming to OTR. So account to account mapping we have not done, but that is the major amount. And remaining accounts we have recovered the money. They may continue to be Q2, continue to be in SMA2, some of them.
So only 6,000 crore was part of that.
6,600 crores to be exact. Actually, if you go through retail and MSME in the 19,000 crores, the figure was almost around 8,000 crores. So that is the composition. 8,000 crores. I don't exactly remember. We'll have to see. I'll just tell you. I'm having the booklet.
10,000 crore, around 10,000.
10,000 crores. Q2, SMA2, what we had given is 19,137. Out of that, MSME itself is 6,600 and retail is 3,371. That means 10,000 crores was the composition from retail and MSME, and majority part either has come in OTR or has come in pro forma NPA currently.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from Abhijit. Request you to please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
Hi. The first question is on Bhushan and DHFL. What are the pending issues which are causing the delay?
Which one?
On Bhushan and DHFL recoveries.
DHFL. Bhushan is only because Supreme Court has not given the judgment so far. There is a the hearing is over, but then it is held for judgment. However, judgment not coming forward does not hinder the process of settlement if the party has to pay the money. So in the JLF already discussions have taken place. We expect the money to be received before 31st March. So at this point of time, I don't see any legal reason for delay in terms of Bhushan Power. With respect to DHFL, there is a process. In the process, RBI approval is required and NCLT has to approve after we submit to the NCLT. So these two processes may take 45 days to 60 days. That is why we did not reckon it could happen before 31st March or it could happen somewhere in the first Q1 of the next financial year.
Okay. So the second one was, have we disclosed the amount disbursed under ECLGS?
Yeah, we have done around 14,000 crores. We have done sanctions. 11,000 crores is the disbursement.
Okay. And any plans to invest money in PNB housing over the next few quarters or next year?
No, that intention we have already in the public domain. We have taken approval from the board and we have requested RBI. We await RBI's approval. Anything around 500 crores we are looking at for investment there. But that has already been in the public domain for quite some time. Probably RBI was also looking at whether PNB has the capability. Now that we have gone to the market, taken 4,000 crores in Tier 2, 500 crores in 81, 3,788 in Tier 1, QIP. We have enhanced our capital by going to the market to a greater extent. That is why our capital adequacy ratio stood at 13.88. So we avoid the final clearance from RBI.
Sure. So last question is, what is the share of repo linked book as percentage of overall loans?
That we have already indicated around 18% if I remember exactly. Repo rate.
Only 18?
Just 1 minute. Madam, RLLR.
RLLR, हमने table दिया हुआ.
Where?
15 number.
No, percentage. 13%, 13.33%.
And rest is largely base rate.
Which one?
The rest of the book is MCLR, sorry. Yeah.
See, MCLR is 45%.
Okay.
RLLR is 13.33. And there is a base rate also, some 10% is there. So altogether 100%. So RLLR we have around 13.33. And foreign currency and others is 11.56.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question, sorry, we again have, there's a follow-up from Mr. Jayan. Request you to please unmute and go ahead with the question.
Hello, sir. Actually, I just wanted last quarter you had given a number of the loans that have not paid any EMI as on date. That number was around 4.5% last quarter. What is that number trended to?
No, once again, that number will be distorted now because proforma NPA is there and then OTR is there. So that is why we did not call out those figures SMA 2, SMA 0, SMA 1 and that kind of figure because it was not giving any definitive understanding because of these kind of various calculations of carving out the amount under proforma NPA and OTR. So the better position would be by March we'll come to know about everything. See, if you want to take the figure, it is 3,418 crores. Where no installment has been paid.
Thank you, sir. And just one follow-up. On the proforma NPA number, what was the movement this quarter?
Proforma NPA, what is that?
The movement this quarter, sir, Q2 versus Q3. What was the accretion?
Q2 versus Q3.
Dynamic figures, sir.
No, Q3, that is what, not 12,919 crores, what we have indicated is at the end of Q3. And out of that, even we have received recovery in current month. Some of the accounts may not be there in that proforma NPA. That's why I was indicating overall in H2, 12,000 crores will be the expected fresh slippage overall together in H2. Though in H2 currently in Q3 itself, it appears to be 12,919 crores.
So this proforma NPA number at the end of last quarter was how much?
12,919, 12,919.
Last quarter in December.
That is 31st December. If you are talking about Q2, it was 3,300, which we already mentioned in the booklet.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move to the next question from Abhijit. I request you to please unmute and go ahead with your question.
No, I'm done. Sorry, I'll just move on.
So the next question is from Maru. Request you to please unmute and go ahead with your question.
Yes, hello, sir. Sir, I had a couple of questions. Firstly, that the restructuring amount that you have given, that is purely standard, right? It doesn't include any pro forma GNPL, right? The 12,000 crores of
It includes.
No, it includes that we have taken under the proforma NPA also. For example, I'll tell you, if you look at page number 43, provision on OTR implemented on 31/12 in personal and other segment at 10% on 238 crores and MSME 5% on 1,026. These two categories are nothing but proforma NPA.
Okay, so can you tell me the exact amount of restructuring overlapping with pro forma NPL? 11,990 is the restructuring. So how much
Correct.
of that overlaps with pro forma NPLs?
1 minute.
The pro forma NPA is, sir, out of OTR is 2,160.
2160.
2160, exact.
Okay, got it, sir. Sir, and my other question is that if you see the 9-month NPL, it's running much higher than 10,000 crores, including pro forma. Of course, including pro forma. So 124 billion is the pro forma itself, and then you have debit to existing accounts and other slippages for the first 3 quarters. So if you add all that up, it's around 180 billion. Whereas our guidance for the whole year is 100 billion. So are you expecting such a sharp pullback in the fourth quarter? Is recovery going to be that very strong?
No. See, while I agree with you that our guidance, which was given almost at the end of Q2 or even around at the end of Q1 was 10,000 crores. During the month of August when we interacted, at that time I had given. But subsequently, We have moderated because of the restructuring and other Supreme Court judgment getting elongated. That in H2 we will have 12,000 crores slippage. So we will stick to that. Fresh
So what
slippage in
is it now?
H2.
Hmm?
No, currently in H2 itself is now 13,000 crores. Sorry, Q3 itself
Yes.
is 13,000 crores. So
Yes, sir.
overall in H2, we are confident that it will remain at 12,000 crores.
Oh, so it will be lower than 3Q.
Correct. Lower than Q3.
Okay, so Q3 is around 125, but total of Q3 plus Q4 will be 130, something like that.
Correct.
Okay, sir. Sir, and my other question is, and that if you see the pro forma slippage, there is a fair bit of slippage in agri and MSME. So why has that happened? Why has that?
No, major area of concern is only that area. Because Supreme Court judgment got delayed, there has been a thinking in the minds of the people that nothing will become NPA. With continuous follow-up in the retail category and MSME category only, we could get recoveries. Originally, the figures were used in month of December. During the December, because of collections only, it has come down. Though the collection was a little impacted. In large corporate segment, there is a clear awareness. Even if the judgment is delayed, they will have tough time if they don't pay the money. That is the reason why the impact is more there in retail MSME. But in the current month, there has been a lot of improvement. From that only confidence, I am indicating to you that the overall slippage in the H2 will be controlled.
Got it, sir. Sir, and because of these farm agitations, is there going to be any impact on slippage in 4Q, especially in the agri segment?
It is an area of concern definitely, but the repayments due in the month of June, generally in agriculture. So whatever was due by December, some of them, we could not get recovery. That is why 2,182 is appearing in the pro forma NPA. We'll have to wait and see how it stands out.
But there will be a fair bit of repayments due in the March quarter, correct, sir?
Not very high, not very high. Generally, the repayments in agriculture come in June and December.
June and December. Okay, sir. Got it. And sir, if you could give I know that the corporate, there's not too much stress, but if you could give a flavor of how many very large accounts are under corporate restructuring and any hint on the sector they are in?
Only, see, if you look at one group or one big account, it is only, if I remember, 900 crores odd, future retail. Rajnish, any other account is there bigger than that?
Shrey is not there in
Shrey is not there in
accounts ke detail. Future group is the main group.
Main. Out of, see, 9,000 crores comprising 71 or 73 accounts, and individual group account is only highest is 980 crores or 970 crores belonging to this future group.
Got it.
Otherwise,
And sir,
our around 400, 500. Yeah, please.
Got it, sir. And sir, what about Shrey? As in, it's obviously standard because of the court judgment. But which way
Correct.
does this account move now?
See, 2,600 crores, 2,600 crores, our exposure is there in both the accounts. That is Shrey Infrastructure and Shrey Equipment Finance. We closely watch that equipment finance is a better placed account rather than infrastructure. There is a NCLT judgment not to identify that account as an NPA. So it is under close watch. But in any case, we'll have to wait and see. But we are counting on that to probably slip into the category.
Escrow account has not been distributed because NCLT
Yes.
order.
And because of the NCLT case, the recovery which is coming is held in escrow account. That is yet to be distributed. So the particulars will be known by March end. However, we are counting on them as a account under stress.
Okay, sir. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before I move to next question, so there is one or two questions from chat. One is the reason for higher agri GNPA in third quarter. I think you had mentioned that, but if you can repeat.
You're talking to me?
Yes, sir. So there is a question as to why is
what I told is gross NPA has come down to 12.99, net has come down to 4.04. However, pro forma NPA is not counted in NPA. That is the reason why in the notes and accounts we mentioned that our gross NPA and net NPA would have been so and so had the pro forma NPA been identified. And that figure is plus 14% in gross NPA and net is around
5.65.
5.65. Overall, our guidance will be we are confident of controlling gross NPA below 14 and net NPA below 5 by March 2021.
Right.
That is what even I have indicated at the end of Q2 itself.
Right, sir. There is a question, sir, as to why is the agri slippages high in this quarter, and what can be the near-term agri slippages from fourth quarter perspective?
No, that is because the recovery is not forthcoming. See, the recovery culture has been vitiated to certain extent by the what do you call this debt waiver, and even though certain state governments have promised to pay the money to the banks, the money entirety has not come. Though without what do you call remarking anything negatively, for example, a state like Madhya Pradesh, they've finalized everything, but the money has not come to the bank. So residual portion of the account is NPA. Similarly, there are other state governments. That is one reason. Second reason is because of this farmers' agitation and then Supreme Court judgment not coming forth. It has also vitiated. That is the reason why the slippage in pro forma NPA is 2,182 crores in agriculture.
Right, sir. There is a question on the expected credit cost / provisioning for fourth quarter and FY22.
Right. The credit cost in Q3, we have indicated 2.02, but in reality, if you count the provisioning, what we have done in pro forma NPA and bring it under NPA provision, the credit cost would go to 2.5, which the indication I had given earlier as well, that up to March 21, the credit cost will remain in the range between 2.25 to 2.5. That is what the guidance we had given earlier also. In year 21-22, it could be anything between 1.25 to 1.5.
Sure, sir. Right, and there is a question, sir, from double B and below book. Out of 41,465 crores of double B and below book, is there any PSU exposure where you are not worried? What is the outlook on this book?
Just 1 minute.
So that was double B and below, no?
Double B and below is around 41,465 crores at the end of December.
Unrated government account 10,615.
Where is it given?
Unrated government account 10,615.
Unrated, we have around 45,000 crores. Out of that, government accounts are 10,615 where guarantee is there. They are not unrated. Is that clear or any other detail you wanted?
No, I think, sir. So out of unrated, 10,000 crore is the sovereign / PSU, right?
Correct.
And anything in double B and below book, sir, and what is the outlook there?
Double B and below is only because of pandemic the rating downgrade has taken place. But outlook, we don't have much of a concern in that area. In fact, if you look at out of the 41,465, there are certain accounts which are already under NPA. For example, 8,900 crores is in NBFC category. Out of that, 4,637 is already under NPA. So NPA figures are also included in that. C and D rated. C and D rated. C and D rated, there are 30 accounts amounting to 4,455 crores. So that is the only area of concern for us.
Some of them are good like IDBI banks.
Right. And sir, just to on SMA, sir, just to reconfirm, I mean that is my question. Just to reconfirm, so SMA2, if I were to exclude first is the SMA2 number that we disclose is for all ticket size. and potential restructuring, if I were to exclude both pro forma slippages and potential restructuring under OTR, that number is 15,000 crore. Is that right, or that number is
It
even
could
lower
be,
than 15?
yeah, correct. It could be around 15,000 crores roughly.
Sure, sir. Right. Okay, sir. And we'll move to the last two questions. This is from Touchstone Phone. Request you to please unmute and ask your question. So there is a the participant who had asked question. The line is unmuted. Request you to please ask your question. Participant can unmute themselves by pressing *6 and can ask question.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. Please.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sir, this question is about capital raise. You mentioned that you're planning to raise 2,500 crore of 81. Are you also planning to raise some equity capital now?
See, QIP out of 7,000 crores, what we have taken the approval, we have taken from the market 3,788. So there is still 3,200 left. We will definitely go to the market at the appropriate time. Our approvals are valid as on
could
today.
you throw some light?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. No, I was just thinking like you've raised QIP, you're planning to raise 81. So what is the...
See, we have taken approval of 14,000 crores from the board, which is valid as on today. Out of 14,000 crores, 81 is 3,000, Tier 2 is 4,000 and 7,000 QIP. Tier 2 4,000 already we have taken in 3 tranches ending November, and 81 out of 3,000 we have risen 500 crores. 2,500 we will be definitely taking before March. With respect to QIP, against 7,000 crores we have taken 3,788 from the market. With respect to the residual 3,200 plus amount, we'll wait for an appropriate time to come to the market again, because approvals are valid as on today. We don't have to do anything except engaging with the investors and BRLMs and move into the market.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise, we are adequately capitalized. Our capital was 13.88 at the end of December. So it can take care of not only the regulatory requirement, but also growth capital required for 21-22 as well.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
We'll take the last question from Touchstone Phone. Request you to please unmute yourself by pressing *6 and then ask a question. Thank you. And meanwhile, sir, there is a question in the chat that the book value that we have showed is one book value is 53 and there is the two book values rupees 53 and 79. What is the difference?
Correct.
It's a tangible because of the tangible.
Okay. One is included DTA, another is excluded by the DTA.
Correct. Deferred tax assets we have excluded and brought the book value for 56 rupees, 53 rupees.
Right. Thank you, sir. We don't have any response from the participant. Yeah. So at this point of time, we'll conclude the session. Request you to, sir, would request you to give a concluding remark. Good day, everyone, and have a good day. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. The concluding remarks are that under the pandemic tough circumstances, it has been really tough for every bank, if you have seen particularly the public sector space, because majority of the lending, if you look at where MSME or otherwise, it happens at the public sector space only. So we have seen the tough times. However, the kind of guidance what we had given in the beginning of the financial year of 2021, we are able to stick to that in terms of profitability, in terms of increasing the provisioning coverage ratio, in terms of maintaining the asset quality at proper level. The only challenge what we have faced is related to credit growth. Even if you look at commercial banks, they have grown at little over 6%, whereas our growth by December has been only 1.5%. That is the only area of concern which we are confident of overcoming in the current quarter. However, during the same period, we had additional challenge of amalgamation of two banks with us, and accordingly database migration we have completed for both the banks by December itself. So the resources concentration on that area, assimilating all the two banks and creating a one bank with completely revamped organization structure were also challenges for us, but we have achieved them, overcome them, everything by December itself in terms of technology integration as well. So we see Q4 as a springboard for increasing the business both in credit and deposits. But deposits is not a worry because we carry around 30,000 crores of liquidity continuously. That is the reason why we were not conscious in getting term deposits. While our CASA has grown by 6% and savings has grown by more than 8.5%, which is a healthy concern, that ultimately has brought down the cost of deposits. So in performance parameters, a lot of positives in the last 9 months, and even asset quality has improved, control has come on the ratios, profitability has also improved, except one factor where our credit growth has been flat at 1.5% year on year. All other parameters have been good, which credit growth also we would like to see 4% growth at least by March 2021 year on year. So with these concluding remarks, I thank every one of you who have participated and the BMG Securities as well. We look forward to any further interaction required from your side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Batlivala and Karani Securities, we thank PNB Bank Management for giving